Alrighty, I waited this long to make a Book of Boba Fett video. I wanted to wait until the entire show was finished so I could put all of my thoughts into one video. And I just finished watching the season finale, and it couldn't have been done and over with any sooner. So you can probably tell by the sound of my voice that I was not a fan of this episode. I didn't like it. I think the show has so many blatant issues that it's hard to know where you should even begin when talking about it. So what I will actually start with saying is I am confused if this was a Boba Fett show, if this was a Mandalorian show, if this was a Luke Skywalker show, if this was anything but Boba Fett. First, I would like to say 7 episodes in a season is just a slap in the face. There is so much lore and history and knowledge to these characters. You could have given us so much. And you look at some of the other really successful TV shows in history, they usually have 10 episode seasons. And when you have 10, maybe even 12 episodes, you're capable of getting away with episodes that are an hour 5, an hour 10 long. I don't think there's any reason they couldn't have done that with Boba Fett. The fact that there are 7 episodes and 5 of these episodes are like 38 minutes, at that point, you might as well have just maybe given us 4 or 5 episodes and have made them all longer. An hour 10, an hour 15. I would have even been okay with that over these 7 episodes that are, like I said, 38 minutes long. But for some reason, Disney Plus shows have credits that are like 10 minutes. So they're not even 38 minutes. They're basically 28 minutes. So first complaint right there. Now, second complaint, and this is a big one. It's about specifically Boba Fett. For years, Boba Fett fans, original trilogy fans, Star Wars fans have wanted to see the return of Boba Fett. We all knew he wasn't dead after the Sarlacc pit. You know, in Legends, he survived, and when Disney decanonized that and started their own canon, we all knew that they still were gonna find a way to bring him back. It was just merely a matter of when they were going to bring him back. This is the thing about Boba. You have 2 very opposite spectrums. You have one side of Boba Fett fans who think he is a literal legend of Star Wars history. One of the best, if not coolest looking bounty hunters in Star Wars. Super talented, super tough to take down. A character that people fell in love with in the original trilogy, and he didn't even need to do anything. All he had to do was stand there with his cool ass armor, his jetpack, and his cool ass weaponry. But then on the other side, you have a lot of fans who are thinking to themselves, why in the world do you love Boba Fett so much? He does nothing in the movies. And the one time you end up seeing him do something in the films, he ends up getting kicked into the Sarlacc pit like it was nothing. This was their opportunity to bring Boba Fett into the story and to essentially give him the due he is deserved. He deserves to be looked at as one of the best bounty hunters to ever live. So my question is this: what happened to the Boba Fett we saw in Mandalorian Season 2? This Boba came out of nowhere and took on a squad of stormtroopers by himself, absolutely obliterated them with pure force and atrocity. This guy was using all of his gadgets, his jetpack rocket, his knee missiles, his wrist launchers, his pistols, his Tusken Raider staff. He was doing everything in the book in Mandalorian Season 2. And when you watch him fight and maneuver in that season, you do get the sense that, all right, Boba is a changed man at this point. There is something different about him. Something very off in the sense that he's not just a bounty hunter anymore. And I'm good with that. I'm fine. Dive deeper into the Boba Fett character, which is somewhat what they do in the show. but he still kept that ferocity. He was still dangerous and powerful. That effect he had on people back in the day who loved him, it only got better for them. And for the people who didn't like him and thought he was pointless, it only got better for them too, because now they started to see Boba Fett as a character like, okay, damn, he is pretty cool. So the whole idea of him joining up with the Tusken Raider clan and being part of their family, learning the ways and the customs of the Tusken Raiders, learning how to fight and just simply how to live like them. It's interesting. I mean, I think what is really cool about it is introducing Tusken Raiders as a people, whereas usually when we watch Star Wars, like for example, A New Hope, when we look at the Tusken Raiders, they're just sand scavengers who will kill anyone in their way to get anything they want. Or in Attack of the Clones, we see them as slavers, slaving Anakin's mother and torturing her or whatever else they've done. We see Tusken Raiders almost as Anakin puts it.
They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals.
But the Boba Fett show, I will say, did a great job of humanizing them, making them a little more interesting and a little easier to connect to actually see them as a people that, you know, okay, they are civilized. But what doesn't fully work for me is how soft Boba Fett became when being with the Tusken Raider clan. And it's exactly what Cad Bane said to him, that he has gotten soft in his old age. And here's the thing. The whole idea is that Boba Fett is essentially becoming a godfather to Tatooine. And I get it. I think it is a really cool idea. You know, Boba Fett is going from bounty hunter to king, essentially. And I do like the idea. I think it could work if the story was written properly. I think what gets very, very unfortunate about the show and about his character is that he no longer feels like Boba Fett. Why that changed from where we saw him in Mando Season 2 to Boba Fett, I don't understand. This is a guy who could barely win fights on his own. This was a man who was literally requiring Fennec Shand to do pretty much all his fighting for him. That scene in episode 1 when they get cornered by those dudes with the force field shields, I'm just thinking to myself here, I'm like, all right, Boba Fett, what would he do in this position? He'd probably turn on his jetpack, fly out, do some strafing maneuvers or, you know, some pinpoint accuracy and pick everyone off in the head with his rifle. Guy couldn't even do that. Guy was struggling to walk. And now, of course, I understand he was poisoned. The Sarlacc pit was poisoning him. He had to make constant trips to the Bacta tank. I get that. But they never dive into why. They never dive into the why of the poisoning from the Sarlacc pit. They never dive into what it does to him, why it's weakening him. And they don't explain how, once again, in Mando Season 2, he seemed absolutely fine. But now all of a sudden, in Book of Boba Fett, let's just give him something that he needs to struggle with. All right, poison him from the Sarlacc pit. Okay, now a third point I want to make about the show. I think it is sad that in 7 episodes, the 2 episodes that were the best in the entire show were the episodes with the Mandalorian and Luke Skywalker Grogu. A show called The Book of Boba Fett. A show that has the name Boba Fett in the title. You guys know who Boba Fett is, right? Well, I kind of forgot because when I watched those past 2 episodes, I didn't know this was a Book of Boba Fett show. The 2 best episodes to come from a Boba Fett show didn't even revolve or have Boba Fett in it. The episode with the Mandalorian when we see his first reappearance, that episode felt really different production-wise. And why I say that is because it honestly feels like the studio said, okay, you know what, Book of Boba Fett, the episodes you got 7, 5 of them are going to be mainly centered around Boba. So for those 5 episodes, we'll give you $500,000-$600,000 budgets for those episodes, maybe less. But then the Mandalorian episode and the episode right after with Luke, they said, oh my God, you're bringing Mandalorian into the show? Okay, we'll give you a $900 million budget. Here you go, take it. They know Mandalorian will bring them money. I still feel they are uncertain about Boba Fett. They don't know if Boba Fett has what it takes to draw in viewers the way Mandalorian does. Because the interesting thing about Mandalorian is that it doesn't just bring us Star Wars fans into it, it brings in average audiences. It brings in people who don't love Star Wars but know Star Wars and keep an eye on it every now and then. That's the type of viewership that Mandalorian brings in. They went all out with those episodes. Those episodes were great. Now, here's the thing. I really like Mandalorian. I really like what they're doing with his character. I really like Grogu. I love Luke Skywalker. It is so good to see Luke Skywalker the way he should be, not what they did with him in the future. That's besides the point. My point is, though, as much as I love these characters, and as much as I love what they seem to be moving forward to, I thought the show was about Boba Fett. Not even gonna lie, after watching those 2 episodes, I didn't even really care about where Boba Fett's story was going anymore. I just was so disinterested. It's not just because of how great the production was for those episodes. It wasn't just because of the characters they used. It wasn't just because I'm a huge Jedi Sith Force user guy when it comes to Star Wars. That's what I watch Star Wars for. And one of those, if not 2, if you include the Darksaber, those episodes gave that to me, which is why I really, really like them. But a big reason why those episodes weren't really drawing me in too much is because sometimes I was thinking to myself, am I watching Spy Kids in space? And yeah, that's because Robert Rodriguez did a couple of these episodes and was a big part of this show along with Jon Favreau. You can just tell the action sequences and a lot of the set design was a lot of Robert Rodriguez's decision making. I'll say right now, the worst episode of the entire show is probably episode 3, when they introduce cyberpunk into it and they bring in the sister of Keanu Reeves' character from Cyberpunk. Those characters are really bad. Space Power Rangers, I don't understand why they decided to bring those characters into it. I was kind of hoping they were going to die in the season finale, but unfortunately they didn't. But regardless, kind of getting into the topic of recruiting people for his mini mobster army, that Power Rangers cyberpunk group just doesn't fit the bill for me. Their vibe did not match not only the world of Tatooine, but Star Wars as well. And I can't get over how terrible that speedster chase scene in episode 3 was. It was just so bad. And they're kind of useless, to be honest with you. Those characters do absolutely nothing in the show. You know, how about Black Chrysanthemum? Great character to introduce in a Boba Fett show. Did we get a Boba Fett Black Chrysanthemum fight? No. No, we didn't. We saw Boba Fett get tossed out of a Bacta tank, and then after that, he gets his little minions to do the fighting for him, which is what 90% of his scenes were. Everyone doing the fighting for him, which is just really, really frustrating because I want to see Boba Fett be the badass that I know he is. How sick would it have been to see Boba Fett versus Black Chrysanthemum? And then he hires him, which, sure, Black Chrysanthemum will take jobs, he'll get paid, he'll do what he gotta do. But now all of a sudden, Black Chrysanthemum's part of his tribe, part of his group. Bro, Black Chrysanthemum's ruthless. If you've ever read a comic book with Black Chrysanthemum, you'll know how straight up killer he is. And I mean that literally. He will kill anyone in his path. Really odd decision making. Like, I don't understand some of the thoughts that were going through their head. And I gotta say, Jon Favreau, man, really, really like you. But the story you wrote for this show wasn't hitting, wasn't doing it. How are you going to introduce Cad Bane, one of the coolest bounty hunters made in cartoons, Another character that people have wanted to make an appearance in live action. Show him off as a massive cameo in the end of the second last episode, and then kill him in the season finale. And before you think that I'm complaining that he's dead, that's not the point. I have no problem with Cad dying in the future. Why I'm not a big fan of that is because you have these people who don't watch Star Wars cartoons. You cannot expect everybody in the world who watches Star Wars to watch the cartoons too. Some people just can't get into them or don't like them. So you introduce a guy like Cad Bane to a world of people who don't watch the cartoons. Those people will now be informed by people like us who do watch the cartoons, and they'll get a better understanding and appreciation of them in live action. You still need to let those people see more of that character, but then you kill him in the very next episode, which, by the way, that final fight scene between Boba and Cad was bad. That fight was terribly choreographed. The filming was completely off, and it was very, very underwhelming. I felt absolutely nothing from it, especially when Boba killed him. It did not feel deserved at all. And it was clearly not the right moment. They shouldn't have killed him that quick. I also just want to add, though, that in cartoon form, we know Cad Bane very well. We know how hard he is to kill and how good of a bounty hunter he is. Unfortunately, when you capture live action and animated, especially something that's like Star Wars, people generally remember characters in live action form than they do in animated form. For example, Darth Maul, he's one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. They made a poor decision in killing Darth Maul in number 1. He should have been a character that was used later on in the movies. Now, I'm not complaining that they brought him back to life, but my point is even though Maul comes back and has a long history in Star Wars, for the vast population, a lot of Darth Maul will only be remembered film-wise. Not much of his animated presence will be remembered. And I just feel like with Cad Bane, that is what has just happened. No one is going to really remember Cad Bane animated form other than people like us who are deep into the world of Star Wars and everything they make. For the average viewer, people are just going to think of Cad Bane as a bum who lost in the last episode of Boba Fett. It's going to be hard for them to understand how good Cad Bane is without watching the cartoons. It is so much harder to explain to someone how cool somebody is by telling them. That person needs to see it for themselves. And unfortunately, you don't get that from Cad Bane. And even if you do, doesn't last long. You know, also, I was thinking, man, if I knew they were going to turn Star Wars so comedically heavy like Marvel content is, and lighthearted and honestly sometimes stupid, I probably would have avoided 5 of the 7 episodes of this show. Get that stupid Twi'lek advisor out of here with his nonsensical rambling, and get that damn woman with the Tatooine spaceport out of here. I'm sorry, guys. To me, it's mind-numbingly annoying, and I can't take their characters. The Rancor scene made absolutely no sense. Boba was capable of maintaining his balance, and the Rancor was capable of staying upright and fighting these massive upgraded droidekas, but then Cad Bane comes in with a flamethrower, which then topples Boba off the Rancor and then makes the Rancor run away from a dude that the Rancor could just squish. It didn't make no sense. And then you're gonna end the show with the Pikes being defeated, but you're not gonna potentially show that Crimson Dawn was involved, or even have a really cool cameo with Kira, Emilia Clarke's character from Solo. You're not gonna follow this up. We all know the Pikes are connected to Crimson Dawn. You're not gonna give that to us? But the end credit scene you give us is the fact that Vanth is probably gonna be getting some cybernetical implants. And let's not also forget that the show ends with Mando and Grogu Grogu showing that he took Frodo's shirt from Lord of the Rings, and then he gets dropped off in Tatooine by R2 in an X-Wing. So what did Luke say? You ain't gonna be a Jedi, bitch. I felt like there was no connective tissue of an ending. There wasn't an aftermath of, oh, this is how Luke will meet up with Grogu again. Or, oh, here's Crimson Dawn. Oh, this is what Boba Fett's gonna do next. Like, it just felt stale. And it just felt done when it finished. Like, I know that might sound weird, but usually when something finishes, you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? Or this is going to happen next. Or I can't wait for the future. This just kind of felt like, hey, it's over. When did it even begin? You know, as I'm editing this video, I came up with a couple more thoughts that I have to say. I just got to get off my chest because I'm thinking to myself, you know, the whole Grogu situation. Luke offers Grogu the choice between Din's armor shirt and Master Yoda's lightsaber, which I don't even know how he has Yoda's lightsaber because that thing was destroyed after Revenge of the Sith. Anyways, he's literally telling Grogu, a baby, yeah, he's 50, whatever, a baby in his species. The kid can't speak or walk on his own, barely. He's telling a baby that he needs to choose between a cool weapon, a lightsaber, or a meaningful, heartfelt gift from a man who saved his life and cared for him like a father. What do you expect Grogu to do? He's obviously going to take the shirt. That is what is going to happen. He has a strong connection to him. The whole point of being a Jedi Master is not to make them forget about these people, which is what the Jedi Order did in the Clone Wars, which is why the Jedi Order needed to change. This is Luke Skywalker's opportunity of saying, you know what? I'm the Grand Master now. I need to change the way the school is formed. I should allow more connection and more emotion in my students. Look at Luke Skywalker in Legends. He got married in Legends. His Jedi Temple in Legends allowed more connection, allowed more attachments. This is an opportunity for Luke to learn from this and to maybe change the way he trains Jedi, but I am very worried that that might not be the road they're going down, because now it feels like Grogu is back with Mandalorian full time. Now, we don't know the future, but if that is the case, you get Luke Skywalker to appear to save Grogu at the end of Mandalorian to begin his Jedi training. The literal show after, you remove Grogu's relationship from Luke Skywalker. Very, very odd, and that was Boba Fett as a whole. Just strange decision making. You know, many people may sit here and say it's your hype that killed it. All this theorizing and all these things that you may have wanted and other people may have wanted didn't come true, and that's why you don't like it. Well, forgive us for theorizing. Forgive us for wanting to take all this history and lore of Star Wars and bringing it into live action. Forgive us for wanting something epic and amazing and cool and fun. This is not something we should just sit back, relax, and say, whatever they do, I'm sure it'll be okay. We did that, and look at what happened. 7, 8, and 9 happened. This is their chance to really develop something amazing by, like I said, using that lore and the comic books and the knowledge of the Force, Grand Admiral Thrawn, the unknown regions, all of this shit. And even though that is the direction they seem to be going in moving forward, this show just felt like they forgot about it, especially when it came to Boba Fett's episodes. But anyways, look, I know I'm not the only one who feels this way about the show and about the finale in general. But you know what? If you liked it, and that's good. But I'm not going to sit here, sell out, and lie to you. I did not like this. I did not think it was good. I thought it was very, very unfortunate what we did end up getting, other than episodes 5 and 6. And actually, let me just a quick shout out to Bryce Dallas Howard, who continues to outshine herself, and Dave Filoni, who in the live action realm continues to get better and better as well. Down in the comments below, everyone, let me know what you thought of the show and what you thought of the season finale. Let me know if you liked it, and let me know if you didn't. I would love to hear all of your thoughts. Until next time, everyone, just like every Star Wars video on this channel ends.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.